Hey everyone, welcome to another video in this series about creating a chat app in Flutter the right way. And in this video, we'll continue to build out our message thread screen and to also tie it together with our backend or message server so that we can receive and send message in real time. And if you have been following so far, then you know exactly where we are. But if it is your first time here, please consider watching the previous videos so that you might be up to speed. So let's jump right into it. And we are just going to continue where we left off. So I'm just going to go directly into my message thread screen here. And we're inside of my build method inside of the body, where I have my flexible container here, which is the middle section of the UI being displayed right now. I am going to replace this child with a block builder. And this block builder will be of type message thread and will accept a list of local messages. And so for our builder method, we want to go ahead and say for our builder method, I'm gonna set my list of messages here to the messages that I've received from the server. Then I'm gonna check if the message is empty. In this case, if it's empty, then I'm just gonna go ahead and return a sized box, and I'm gonna say shrink. Otherwise, if our messages are not empty, I'm gonna say return and create a method called build list of messages. So let's go ahead and create that method here. And this method will simply return the list view with our messages. So let me go ahead and say I want a list view builder, and for this I want the padding to be which insets. Gonna set the top to be 16. I want the left to be 16 and the bottom to be 20 pixels. Next, for item builder, I'm gonna say inside of our item builder, I'm gonna check whether the current message is from the sender or from the receiver. So I'm gonna say index. If the message is at index, dot message from, if that's equal to the receiver ID, then return, create a padding here, set the padding, this case I want, and I want the bottom to be 8, so I'm gonna set the bottom 8, and for its child I am going to create another view or widget called receiver message, and I'll pass to this view the messages at index. So I'm gonna pass the current message along with the photo URL of the receiver. So that's the case if the messages from the receiver. Else, if the message is from me, who is the sender, I'm going to return a similar thing. So let me copy and paste this. But this time, I'll create another widget called sender message. And this will only accept the particular message. So that's it for my item builder. And inside my list view, I want the item count to be messages.length. And I also want the controller to be my scroll controller that I set up. And the physics, I want the physics to be always scroll in physics. And I'm gonna say add automatic keep alives to true. So nothing will happen because I need to go ahead and create these two widgets. So let's go ahead and create those. And now we can go inside of our widgets folder, create another folder called message thread, and there we'll create our two widgets. So first it's the receiver message, which will be a stateless widget. And we also want the sender message. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this. Change the class name here. Sender. So now we have these two widgets. Let's import them here. Then for my receiver widget or receiver message, set up those dependencies. So we need the URL and we need the message. And for the sender, we only need the message. So find our local message, and this. So that's it for our dependencies. So now we can go ahead and build out this widget for our receiver message. So for my receiver message, let's go ahead and create for the parent widget. I want a fractionally sized box, and I want to align that top left, and then I'm gonna give it a width factor of 75%, so it will be no wider than 75% of the device width. And then for its child, I'm gonna give it a stack, and this is where I'll put my different widgets in the stack. So now for its children, let's go ahead and create the message bubble. I'm gonna create a padding widget first. And then for each child, I'm gonna create a column. Then for the children of the column, I want first a decorated box. As far as the decoration goes, go ahead and create a box decoration. The color is dependent on the theme, so if it is light theme, then I want the color to be K bubble light, otherwise K bubble dark. And then for the radius, let's go ahead and give it a border radius, circular radius of 30. So this tells it that this decorated box should be rendered as the background of its child. So now let's go ahead and set the child, and I'm gonna set the child to text, and this text will have the message. So message, contents, and I'll trim. I want the text to soft wrap. Let's set the style to be the theme of context, text theme. I'm going to use caption, and then I'm going to say copy width, and I'm going to change the height to be 1.2. So as we can see, the hey is displayed from the user, and this is the message that we already have here. So if we go back out here, we have hey, which is from the sender rather from the receiver. I also want to wrap this inside of a padding. Where I want the horizontal to be 24 and the vertical to be 12. So now we have a bigger message bubble. So that's our message bubble. Let's now go ahead and add our timestamp of the message. So below our decorated box, we've gone ahead and add a padding widget with its edge inset top and left being 12, and then we add a align widget which is bottom left, and we add for its child text which contains a formatted version of the timestamp that we received from the message, and we also style our text based on the theme. So if it is light theme, then we set the color to black 54 opacity, otherwise we set it to white 70 opacity. So next, now we can go ahead and also add our circular avatar to display the profile image of the sender or of the person who sent the message to us. And so we have added our circular avatar as a last child in our stack. At the bottom of the stack, we have gone ahead and add our circular avatar. We set the background based on the theme, whether it's light or dark, we give it a radius of 18, and for the child we use a clip rrect and set the border radius to 20. And then we use the network image and pass in the URL for our photo, the receiver photo URL. And then we set the height and width to 30 with the fit being box fill. So that's it for our sender or receiver rather message and how it will look. And we need to do a similar thing for the sender message. It's very similar to this. So we can copy portions of this and use that over there. So let's go ahead and copy all of this. Gonna paste that over here. Remove the circular avatar since there's no need for that here. And for the color, for the decoration color, it's gonna be K primary. Also, I want to change the alignment here to center right. And for the padding here, I'm gonna give it 30, but this time it's gonna be on the right instead of the left. And cross-axis alignment is gonna be at the end since it's on the right side of the screen. Also, I want the color here to be white. For timestamp, it should be bottom right, since everything is moving to the right of the screen now. And then for the last child of the stack, I want to add the receipt indicator, that tick which tells whether or not the message has been read. So for our receipt indicator, we've gone ahead and add a padding with a vertical of 8, horizontal of 20. We have an align widget with a decorated box where we set the color based on the theme and a radius of 30. Then for its child, we use an icon here, which is a check circle. And I basically change the color of that circle based on the receipt status. So if the receipt is red, then the icon color is green, otherwise it is gray. The icon size is 20, and again everything is aligned to the right. So in this case, this is aligned center right. So that is our sender message bubble. So now if we go back to our message thread, let us find the on press of our send button here. And so send the message when the button is pressed. So I'm going to create a method, send message. Scroll down, send message. So for this method, I want to get the text from the text controller and return if it is empty. So after I've done that check, I can go ahead and create my message to be sent. After the message to be sent is created, we now create the message sent event from the block and add that event to our message block. So now that the message is sent, we can go ahead now and clear our text editing controller and also cancel all typing event timers. So there is our send message method. So if I should go ahead, let's type a message. Hello, click send. Then we see our hello message show up here with the tick that shows that the message has not been read by the other user. Now, let us consider what happens when the user types a message. We would want the message list view to scroll automatically to the last message in the list of messages. And so what we want to do is inside of our message thread block builder here, before we build a list of messages, what we want to do is to access the widget binding instance. Then with this instance, so it's widgets binding instance, and with this I can say add a post frame callback. So this will run this method when the list view is rendered. So what I want to do is to run a method called scroll to the end. And this method will basically just smooth scroll the list view to the last child. So let's go ahead and create that method. So I'm going to create that method here. And all I've done is to access the scroll controller and ask it to animate to the maximum scroll extent and give it a duration of 200 milliseconds and a curve of ease in, ease out. And that should scroll the list of messages to the end whenever the list messages start filling up, so that the user will always be seeing the latest message, which is at the bottom. We also want to handle what happens when the other user read the message. Now our receipt here should be updated to green to show that that has happened. So for that, we'll create a method send receipt. This will accept a local message. So for our send receipt method here, we simply check if the receipt of the current message is already read, then we return. Otherwise, we create a receipt here with the recipient being the message, the from, and the message ID here being the ID of the message, and we send the status to read, and we set the date time. Then we add that event to the block, calling the onMessageSend event, passing the receipt, and then after that we go ahead, call our message thread qubit, access the view model, and then update the message receipt so that this message receipt will be updated in our local database with the correct state of the receipt. So now we can go ahead and call this method inside of our build list of messages. For the receiver messages, I am going to say send receipt for each of these messages. In this case, it will be messages and the message at this index. So if the message is from the receiver, then go ahead and send the receipt back to that person. Let's go ahead and save that. Now that we have set up our receipt, the next thing we have to configure now is what happens with our typing events. So we can go ahead and set up our typing notification methods. So I want to create two methods here. I want to create a method called dispatch typing, and this method will accept a typing event. And what this method does is create the event and dispatch the event. So here we have our dispatch typing method. As I said, it simply creates the typing event, then use the notification block and send that event to be processed. Now, inside of my send message method just above, whenever I click send message, I want to go ahead and dispatch a typing event, and in this case I want to say typing stop. So once I send that message, I want to go ahead and say typing stop. So the next method I want to create that sends the typing notification is send typing notification, and I'm gonna accept the text here so that I can check if the text is empty, because if the message field is empty, then I do not want to send any kind of notification here. So let's go ahead and create this method. So here is our typing notification method. Again, we have a couple of checks, and this method can be written cleaner, can be refactored. So I suggest that you guys try and understand it and refactor it to be better. But the basic logic of it is that we check if the text says, if it is empty, that is, nothing is typed inside of the message field, or even if our list of messages are empty. So that if the list of messages are empty, that means that we haven't started a conversation with this person yet. So we return. We do not need to send any kind of notification to this person. Then we check if the timer, if the start timing timer is active, then return, because we do not want to send a typing event again since it's already sent. Then we also check if the stop timer is active, then we go ahead and cancel that. So what here we say start the typing event, dispatch the event, so typing start, then we set the timer to 5 seconds, and as the note says, so that we send one typing event every 5 seconds. So once we start typing and that event is sent, we are not constantly sending events on every keystroke, but we wait for 5 seconds. And then what we do is that 1 second after that starting timer finish, then we go ahead and dispatch the stop typing, so that 6 seconds later we stop the typing event, so that the typing display or indicator will no longer show. And this is used just in case you start typing and you stop typing for a while. Then after that while, it will send this event to say the user stopped typing, therefore we do not show that typing indicator anymore. So now that we have these events, these two methods set up, what we want to go ahead and do is to handle the displaying of that typing indicator, and that's gonna happen inside of the header. So let's go back to the top here where we have our header status here. The typing will be displayed. So where we have online, when the person start typing, then we're gonna show typing there. So where I have my header status here, I'm just gonna cut that out for now. And for the child, I'm gonna use a block builder instead. And this block builder will be of type typing notification and the state will be the typing notification state. So now I'm gonna set the block. I want the block to be widget typing notification block. Then the builder method that we want to handle the state. So let's go ahead and handle the state. So here we have set up the handling of the state, where I simply set a Boolean variable here and check if the state, so if I receive a typing notification, then I'll check also if the event, if it's a start event, and if it is from the person that I'm having this conversation with currently, then set typing to true. And then inside my header status, I go ahead and pass in this typing variable, and that will determine whether or not to render the indicator here that says the user is typing. So that's us adding our typing notification block to the header so that the indicator can be shown. But now we need to go ahead and dispatch those typing events at the appropriate time. So where do we dispatch those events? Here inside my text form field, in the onChange method, whenever there's a change, then I can say send typing notification. Can go ahead, send typing notification. Now, next thing on the focus, once the text field loses focus, I want to go ahead and send a typing stop, so that if the user started typing but click away from the text field, then I want to dispatch that stop typing event. So here what I've done is to do some checks. So I'll check if the timer, if the start typing timer, if that's null, or the start timing timer is not null, and we are just receiving focus on this text field, then we should return. Otherwise, in any other scenario other than that, I'm going to go ahead and cancel the stop typing timer and then dispatch stop typing, so that if there was the timer already executed for that 6 seconds, I cancel it immediately and immediately dispatch that stop typing event. So this is where we set up our typing events, where one, we send the notification on change, and then we deal with what happened when the text field loses focus. We want to immediately send that typing has stopped event once you click away from the text field. And so we have set up all the necessary events and handlers here in our message thread. And we can send message, as you can see here. Now we need to check that the other user is receiving these messages and that we can send the appropriate events. So we'll have to set up 2 simulator nodes in order to test that. So let's go ahead and do. So we have 2 iPhones here, both running the app. So let's just go ahead and try to see if everything is working as it should. So now I just want to go here to my active tab, get this Wade person. As you can see, something is off here, as this is at the top when it should be at the bottom. And I think the reason for that, if we go back to our message thread, is inside of our here, instead of returning a size box shrink here, what I should have done is return a container and give it a transparent color. Let's go ahead and save that. Now we have our message box at the bottom. So now we just try and send a message. Hi. We see the message showing up here. Let's go inside that message. You see the green suggesting that the message was read. Now if I should start typing, hey, you see the typing indicator showing here, and if I should not type for a while, then it should send the stop typing, which should set it back to online. I say hey there, hey comes, the message is displayed, the tick is green to show that the message was read. And here if I should say how are you, you see the typing being shown there, and I go ahead and send that message. It is read. If I go back here, it says one unread message, which is not true. So that suggests to me that something is not happening as it should. Because all the messages here are read. But again, if I should start typing here, you should see that happening there. Again, the message is not updated here, so that suggests that something is not working as it should. Let us try and look into that. So I've gone ahead and try and fix the issue with the chat indicator not getting updated. So the issue is that here inside of my chats build list view, when I await the return from the message thread screen, here I need to go ahead and refresh. So I can say await context dot read, and I read the chats qubit. Then I simply say call the chats method. And this should redraw so that the screen is updated with the appropriate count. So now if I go here, now if I go back, then it should be updated. So again, from this screen, if I say hello, it should show typing. Then it should show stop typing, but it seems as if the timer is having some issue. based on the usage of my CPU. So if I send a message, the message is there, but the typing indicator is covering it up because it didn't send the dispatch event. But now if I read the message, go back, then that indicator should go away. So again, if I say hey, as you can see, the indicator goes away now. So I think it has something to do with the demand on my CPU with all these simulators running and also the recording software running. So I think everything should be working fine and we can send message between each other. Go ahead and send that. Then over here, send, as we can see, and it's auto scrolling to the bottom of the message. So that's it for this video. That's it for this series. Thank you guys for sticking with me until the end. Thank you for being patient, and I believe we have learned a lot during this series. So I'll see you in the next series, and if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comment. Remember to like the video, remember to subscribe and share the video. And always, the code is on GitHub for you guys to see it. So thank you, and see you in the next one.